Mom guilt in the midst of chronic illness. It's CIRS' dirty little secret, and today we're talking about it. I'm Dr. Lauren Sparks. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and therapist. I've walked through the fire of erythromelalgia as well as CIRS, and I'm here to tell you I have hope for your healing. Lots of it. So, mom guilt. Why do I call it a dirty little secret? Because no one in the CIRS world is talking about it. Yet I, as a practitioner, sit with parents on a daily basis who express their guilt and shame and sadness and frustration about not being able to parent in the ways that they want to parent. They often had dreams and ideas of what it would be like to be a parent, and then they were hit with chronic illness. And now they've had to shift to not only take care of their children, but also to take care of themselves. And this doesn't come without emotional health challenges that I think we really do need to be talking about. First of all, we feel so alone in it. And one reason I feel like it was so important to make this video is because each individual person I talk to about it shares their shame and sadness and guilt, and they feel so alone in the struggle. Yet I'm having this conversation on a regular basis. We just recently had this conversation in one of our community support circles. And so there are so many of us struggling with this mom guilt that we really want to bring it out of the closet and begin to talk about it as a community. This parental guilt is a thing that we experience even before CIRS invades our life. It's just that CIRS can amplify it. And I believe that when that shame enters into our lives, that shame often silences us. That's why it's important for us to be having this conversation. It's why it's important to join community support circles or therapy groups that can support you so that you can vocalize to other lovely, beautiful human beings that you are struggling with these feelings, and so that it can be reflected back to you that you're not alone in it. We often, when we're in community, we see the beauty in other people. We see how much they are able to parent in the midst of not parenting perfectly. It's so hard to see that in ourselves. But when that window is cracked and we begin to see it in other people who have our same disease process, who are feeling some of the same feelings that we are, it begins to open this window or this idea that maybe we don't have to parent perfectly, but instead we can be a good enough parent while also taking care of our own needs so that we can heal from the disease process. The second piece I want to talk about is that we often feel this overwhelming guilt at not being the ideal parent that we had imagined that we could be. So maybe we are laying on the couch too much. We feel it is too much. And we are letting our children engage with an iPad longer than we would like. Maybe we aren't able to go into a building to watch a child play a sport because that building is water damaged, and we're early on in our healing process and we're being very careful and protective about that therapeutic bubble that we need to be in to heal. Regardless of why that guilt is showing up, I want to talk about how that guilt can actually give us a feeling of agency. And I think about this in the context of losing my dear, dear dog, Einstein. He was 12 years old when he passed away, and he was with me in a water damaged building. I think in some ways he was affected by CIRS, and he did also have a Rocky Mountain spotted fever diagnosis, and I don't believe that was ever adequately treated. However, I went above and beyond for Einstein. I took him to holistic providers. I began cooking his own meals, which meant literally cooking 40 pounds of meat a month for a dog. I know Einstein felt loved by me, but when he died, guilt took over. And I focused on those times in our relationship where maybe I was a little bit short with him, where I was feeling overwhelmed that he wanted something from me and I couldn't give that to him, for instance. And I even sort of backtracked despite this heroic journey that I went on to support his health, and really felt that I should have had more answers than I had. This guilt gave me a sense of control. The reality is I had no control over when Einstein left his body. I had no control over his death. And this guilt allowed me to feel a sense of control so I didn't have to feel that helplessness. And I often think as parents who are dealing with chronic inflammatory response syndrome or erythromelalgia when we're parenting, that guilt creeps in an effort to give us a sense that we have control. If we only could do X, Y, or Z. And I just want to make you aware of that because I think when you start feeling guilty, you can reassess, you can bring things back into reality and say, I'm not the parent I wanted to be, but I'm also not living under circumstances that I chose. None of us choose this disease process. And I am a good enough parent most of the time. No one is going to get it perfect. And in the process of healing from this disease process, maybe what I can do will expand. But this is today. And today I am struggling with guilt. And maybe that guilt is showing up in order to give me a sense of control because it is really painful to feel that loss of control, the sense that this disease process is out of our control. I also want to invite you into the idea that rarely are bad parents worrying about their parenting. The fact that you're experiencing these uncomfortable emotions, that you are even thinking about it, or this guilt that comes up, it really means that you're likely a very good parent. Again, rarely are bad parents worrying about their parenting. One thing that I found very, very comforting, and I still find comforting, is that attachment research says that you only need to be emotionally attuned 30% of the time with your child to establish a secure bond. I think that bar is pretty low, 30% of the time. It can feel painful because it can make us realize that maybe we did miss out on that 30% good enough attunement in our own childhood. But it also can provide comfort that if you're not getting it right all of the time, if you are having a really hard day or a really hard week and you're having to offload some of your responsibilities to someone else, or you're not responding in the ways that you would ideally like to respond, it's okay. It also should be said that when we are establishing a secure bond, that also involves repair. And so I would rather a parent be imperfect and when they have a bad day, when they lose their temper, when they're snappy with a child, work to repair. Work to say, you know what, mom was not feeling well and I was really struggling and you asked me X, Y, or Z and I had a snappy response and that's not who I want to be. I want you to forgive me, or I'm asking you if you can forgive me, and let's try that conversation again. I think this is so much more important than being a perfect parent, which is an unattainable goal, right? And so just remember when you are being hard on yourself, you felt you made a mistake, that reparative act is actually what helps create a secure bond, and it teaches your child a very valuable skill. I hope that this information has been helpful. If you do want more support in regards to the mom guilt or parental guilt you're feeling in the midst of chronic illness, you can join our support circle. It's a community support circle for the complex mix of love, longing, guilt, grief, and shame that accompany parenting when chronically ill. We shine a flashlight on that shame. Shame can't exist when we speak about it aloud, and we heal in community. We find ways forward together. If you're benefiting from this channel, please do like and subscribe. It's very helpful. Mom guilt can be especially present when other family members don't believe in our diagnosis. So check out this next video to understand how to navigate a family member that poo-poos a CIRS diagnosis. And until next time, take good care and hold on to hope.